The number one symptom or the number one sign that tells you you're out of alignment is if you feel less than in any way. It shows up as feeling overwhelmed, feeling frustrated, feeling burned out, feeling like you're in constant push, massive action, unfulfilled. That lets you know that you're misaligned. Hello there, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and I am so thrilled that you've joined me today, either listening on your favorite app or watching on YouTube. I am so excited. We are like knee deep in this series about alignment, and today we're going to dive into the number one way to tell whether you're out of alignment and what are those symptoms of being misaligned. So we're going to talk about that. But first, if you are listening to the latest episode of this podcast, be sure that you're following it on your favorite app. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, tell me if you like my hair right now. And also, we would sure love it if you would hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification so you are well notified when we're dropping another episode. If you want to see what we're up to, go on over to allysonchavez.com for the latest in live events I'm doing, online events that I'm doing, and free resources that will help you to really let go of the struggle, get into certainty, lead with your feminine, and become more productive than you've ever been and more in love with life than you have ever been before. I'm super excited to be hosting a new live in-person event next month. I'll tell you more about that at the end of this episode and let you know where you can go to get more information and to purchase your ticket. But right now, let's talk about misalignment. We talked about alignment last time. Let's talk about misalignment today. The number one sign that you're out of alignment is that you feel less than in any way. If you're feeling not good enough, not capable enough, if you're in comparison, if you're in competition, there's lots of different symptoms that we have that make us feel less than. But that's really the number one indicator that you're not in alignment, is that you feel less than in any way. Now, for myself and for the hundreds of women that I have coached over the years, those symptoms show up primarily as burnout. Burnout is a sign that you're misaligned. Frustration, overwhelm, and really feeling unfulfilled. Even when you hit those goals, all you feel is, tired at the end because you've been misaligned through the whole way. Misaligned with the action that you're taking or the way that you're taking that action. When we're in too much masculine energy, that actually pops us out of alignment as women. So that's why it's so important to know the difference between feminine energy and masculine energy and how to balance the two and how to lead out with the feminine and also understand the signs and the symptoms that your body will give you if you've been in too much masculine energy for too long so that you can then reconnect back with your feminine energy. Our bodies are so amazing because it will let us know when we're out of alignment almost instantly. When we're out of alignment, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, all of those things, the head games that we play, the argument back and forth, they're symptoms and they're signs that we're out of alignment. I found it really fascinating to understand the brain's role in keeping us aligned or keeping us out of alignment, because we live in this world of opposites. Everything has its opposite. Absolutely everything, even your brain and even your thoughts. That's how cool this life is, that we have the ability to choose in literally every situation. We might not be able to choose the situation because of other people's agency and other people's choices, or really even our own mistakes or our own dumb choices that we've made, as we've been rolling along this journey called life. But we can choose in every situation what the situation means to us, whether it's going to hurt us, whether it's going to harm us, whether it's going to help us or serve us. We always and forever have the choice about how we're going to respond. But I thought it was really interesting what the brain does. So There is a little gland in our brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala gets triggered anytime that there is uncertainty or risk involved, and kind of just floods us with this like, slow down, let's think about this, let's pull back from this. The amygdala has a very powerful purpose. It's to keep us safe. So, we've all heard the whole, stepping out into oncoming traffic, it's going to trigger the amygdala because the amygdala wants to keep us safe. But anytime that we are faced with uncertainty or risk, it triggers the amygdala. And the amygdala wants to keep us safe and wants to keep us in the familiar. So the amygdala is not very helpful when we're going for our goals and our desires and our dreams, because it's like sending this warning signal out to us. And there's no need really for us to be worried to go after our dreams and our desires. They're put there by God. But here's where the brain is just so brilliant and so tricky. We still have the opportunity to choose if we're going to listen to the amygdala when it's like, uncertainty and risk. We better pull back. I mean, what better evidence have we had of uncertainty and risk and people pulling back than what's been going on for the last 2 years? And quite honestly, I really think that 2022 was more difficult than 2020, because we're now in the fallout of everything that happened. It was that ripple effect that everything that was caused by the shutdown of the world of 2020. And it does have some time lag to that, but we see mental illness everywhere. We see depression, we see suicide rates that are just through the roofs. There's so much anger, there's so much rage, there is so much fear and uncertainty going on. So people's brains, their amygdalas are just exploding all over the place. And then we feel powerless and we feel helpless, but we don't need to. We don't need to feel this way, no matter what is going on in your own private circumstances and your own personal economy, or even on a global scale, because we also have our prefrontal cortex in our brain. This is how genius God is, because he balances out everything in our life. Like there's a counterbalance, there's an opposite to the amygdala, and it's the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex fires and gets triggered when we are looking out over a beautiful vista. Like when you hike, because we hike for the scene at the end, right? Like when we can look over the valley and just look at that, we hit the summit. And it's so inspiring to us. Or if you're looking out over the ocean, or over a sunrise, or seeing a really beautiful sunset, that triggers the prefrontal cortex. And what that does is it fills us with possibility. It causes us to expand rather than to contract. Interestingly enough, the prefrontal cortex also fires when we are thinking about our dreams, when we're thinking about our vision, and we're aligned with it. Now, if we're in uncertainty and doubt about our ability to create that reality that we desire, then like the amygdala is firing. If we're listening to it and it's like, I don't know how this is all going to work out, the amygdala is firing. But when we will lean in and get into alignment with our desires, so if you have a vision board, it's actually a really, really powerful tool to help you trigger your prefrontal cortex, which fills you with expansion, which fills you with ideas and possibility and inspiration as you're looking at that. But so often we are listening to the amygdala because the amygdala fires, because you look at what's on your board and you've got the body that you want, and you've got, money raining down, or you've got piles of money, or you've got the picture of the private jet, or you've got pictures of you around the dinner table laughing with your family. You've got, like that great inspiration that's coming as you're reading scripture, as you're reading spiritual books that uplift you, and you've got angels. I'm just kind of like tapping into my vision boards that I've made in the past. Yours probably looks a little bit different, but we've got all of those cornerstones where we want to change or enhance in our life. But if we are misaligned, then we're leaning towards believing what the amygdala is sending out and signaling to us, which is hold off, not yet. Now, having said that, there is such a thing as divine timing. And so there are times where we do need to pause. There are times like there's a lot of moving pieces to our big dreams as high achieving women. And so sometimes we do get that direction to pause, and that's okay. But what the amygdala is signaling is danger, danger, danger. There's uncertainty, there's risk. You might get hurt, pull back and go into safety. All right. And that's not what we want to follow. What we want to follow when we're looking at, for example, our vision board is the prefrontal cortex, and let that fire when we say, yes, that's a possibility. Oh, that lights me up. The thought of living that as my reality and not as a dream makes me smile. It makes my eyes fill up with tears. I get chills all over my body. I'm filled with gratitude. I feel so loved. I feel so supported. That fires off the prefrontal cortex. And if you want to see what it looks like, then watch my face on YouTube as I've been talking through this, and I've been thinking about what my dreams and my visions are, and I'm leaning into that as a possibility. My eyes are wider. I feel an expansion in my heart. I feel excited. I also feel peaceful about it. I don't feel uncertain. I'm not trying to micromanage the journey or be good old control freak about all the different moving pieces. That is the benefit of firing off the prefrontal cortex and leaning into that. So let's recap. The number one symptom or the number one sign that tells you you're out of alignment is if you feel less than in any way. It shows up as feeling overwhelmed, feeling frustrated, feeling burned out, feeling like you're in constant push, massive action, unfulfilled. That lets you know that you're misaligned and you are firing off the amygdala. To get back into alignment, lean into and fire off the prefrontal cortex just for a minute and do it all throughout your day. It will fill you with expansion. It will fill you with relief. It will fill you with ideas and inspiration, and you will get those dreams faster and with greater ease and so much more joy than you have previously experienced. Now, for those of you who are high achieving, high performing women who are in positions where you can really control how much you make in your paycheck, because there's a commission that's involved with your job, whether it's in real estate, whether it's you're a female entrepreneur or a mortgage broker or in a title company or any of those areas, high commission sales, if you happen to sell cars or door-to-door sales. I don't see a whole lot of women in those industries. Network marketing, if you've got a team around you. I have created and I'm hosting a live 2-day in-person event next month where we're going to dive into the new success model for women. That's going to fill you with relief, fill you with joy, with radiance, because not only does the model that I created speak to our unique strengths and gifts as women, it also allows us to tap into our intuition, lead with our feminine, be filled with joy and radiance as we go, and get phenomenal outward results. So for more details and to purchase your ticket, go to prosperityapproach.com/live, and we'll see you next month.